Number 1. Shaye Groves. On July 17, 2022, Shaye Groves, a 27-year-old woman from Havant, Hampshire, England, fatally stabbed her boyfriend, 25-year-old Frankie Fitzgerald, over 22 times while he was asleep in her bedroom at her residence in Havant. The attack was described as a horrific one, with Fitzgerald sustaining significant injuries that led to his death at the scene. Their relationship was known as one fueled by obsession and very volatile. They shared mutual interests in true crime and had fascinations with criminals. Groves adorned her bedroom walls with framed pictures of notorious serial killers and murderers. She also had books about criminals, including the notorious prisoner Charles Bronson, and possessed a collection of decorative knives, one of which was used in the murder. On the day of the murder, the two lovers had set up a camera to film themselves in an intimate way before things got out of hand. After the murder, Groves didn't call the police. Instead, she cleaned up the scene a little, took some smokes, and called a friend over video chat, casually showing Frankie's lifeless body and confessing to the killing, stating that she had snapped and used the knife on him multiple times. She also shared 3 video clips suggesting that her boyfriend had assaulted her and was violent with her. The friend alerted the authorities, leading to Groves's arrest later that day. During the investigation, it was revealed that Groves had fabricated claims of Frankie's abusive behavior, presenting manipulated text messages and videos to support her allegations. However, evidence indicated that Groves had been tracking Frankie's movements and had acted out of jealousy after she discovered he had been messaging who she mistakenly thought was a 13-year-old girl on social media. The individual turned out to be 17 and had been blocked by her boyfriend before the incident. The original video clip she had sent to her friend was also retrieved, showing that her boyfriend never carried out any violent act on her. The trial took place at Winchester Crown Court, where Groves pleaded not guilty, claiming she acted in self-defense after being assaulted by Fitzgerald. The prosecution presented evidence of Groves's premeditation, including her interest in true crime and possession of weapons. They also found out that she was very familiar with crime scenes, how to create a false narrative, and how to set up a false alibi. She was a very dedicated serial killer fangirl. During her sentencing, Frankie's parents were heartbroken. They described him as the shining light, a kind and beautiful person. He was also a young father of 2 children who had his life in front of him. The jury found Groves guilty of murder, and on February 22, 2023, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 23 years before being eligible for parole. During her sentencing, she remained expressionless as she received her sentence. As of April 2025, Shaye Groves has served approximately 2 years of her 23-year minimum sentence. She is currently incarcerated in a UK prison with 21 years remaining before she can be considered for parole. Number 2. Natalie Bennett. On the evening of March 11, 2023, in Carr Lane East, Croxteth, Liverpool, neighbors reported hearing a heated argument between 47-year-old Natalie Bennett and her 24-year-old boyfriend, Casey Anderson, at her residence. Approximately an hour later, Casey, the boyfriend, was seen seeking help at a neighbor's door, visibly injured and distressed. He managed to contact emergency services, repeatedly stating he was dying, but was unable to specify who had harmed him due to the severity of his injuries. Natalie then took the phone, informing the operator that Casey had multiple stab wounds, but claimed ignorance about their origin, stating, "He's come in like that?" suggesting he arrived at her home already wounded. Upon arrival, Merseyside police officers found Casey with severe injuries, including a deep stab wound that affected his vital body parts, along with other superficial wounds. He was transported to Aintree Hospital, where he underwent surgery, but died of his injuries just a week before his 25th birthday. Natalie was arrested at the scene. During the investigation, authorities discovered inconsistencies in her account. Ring doorbell footage from a neighboring house showed Bennett wielding a knife near Casey's head, contradicting her claims that he arrived injured. Additionally, the interior of her home smelled strongly of cleaning fluids, and several sharp implements were found in the kitchen sink, appearing to have been recently cleaned. She was charged with Casey's murder and stood trial at Liverpool Crown Court. She pleaded not guilty, claiming self-defense and asserting that Casey had attacked her first. However, the jury found her account unconvincing. Evidence also emerged showing that she called the dying victim Little Rat as he was struggling on the street to call the 999 operator for help. On October 4, 2023, after deliberating for over 4 hours, the jury unanimously convicted her of murder. On November 10, 2023, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 18 years before being eligible for parole. Judge Dennis Watson, K.C., remarked, "No sentence I can pass can restore Casey's life. His friends and family will always mourn his death. Your actions have caused the waste of a human life." Natalie showed no emotion as the sentencing was passed in the packed courtroom. When she was led to the cells, she gave a thumbs-up sign to her dad in the public gallery. As of April 2025, Natalie Bennett has served approximately 1 year and 5 months of her 18-year minimum sentence. Number 3, Sharon Carr. Sharon Louise Carr, also known as the Devil's Daughter, was just 12 years old when she committed the unprovoked and brutal murder of 18-year-old Katie Ratcliffe. Katie, an apprentice hairdresser, was walking home from a nightclub in Camberley, Surrey, England, when Carr selected her at random and attacked her, inflicting over 30 stab wounds that led to her death. After the attack, Sharon and some accomplice left her body abandoned near a cemetery. Katie's body was discovered the following day by young boys. Initially, the murder remained unsolved. The police thought the crime was committed by an adult male due to the nature of the body when it was discovered, and Carr was not apprehended. 2 years later, Carr attacked a fellow student inside a toilet at Collingwood College Comprehensive School, stabbing her without any reason. The attack stopped when students entered the toilet and intervened, leaving the victim severely injured. The victim said that Carr was smiling and appeared happy during the attack. This incident led to her arrest. She was initially taken to a hospital for medical assessment. There she also harassed and tried to murder the nurses attending to her. She was then transferred to a detention in a young offenders institution. While incarcerated, Carr boasted about Katie's murder during phone calls to relatives and documented her involvement in her prison diary entries. In one of such entries, she wrote, "If only I could do it to you again. I was born to be a murderer." Authorities questioned Carr on the murder, and she confessed to the crime. She even graphically described a particular injury and provided details that the police had deliberately withheld, meaning that she had knowledge that only the killer would have. On the 4th-year anniversary of the murder, she boldly wrote, "Respect to Katie Ratcliffe, 4 years ago today." With all her confessions and written evidence, authorities charged her with Katie Ratcliffe's murder. In March 1997, at the age of 17, she was officially declared Britain's youngest murderer. Carr was convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 14 years. The presiding judge remarked on the exceptional nature of the case, given her young age at the time of the offense. Carr was smiling as she left the dock after the conviction. As of April 2025, Sharon Carr has served approximately 28 years of her life sentence. Despite surpassing her minimum tariff by 14 years, she remains incarcerated due to concerns about her behavior and mental state. Reports indicate that Carr has exhibited violent tendencies while in prison, including fantasies about harming fellow inmates. Her applications for parole have been denied, with assessments deeming her too unstable for release. She is currently 45 years old. Number 4, Bailey Haywood. On March 13, 2024, at approximately 12:20 p.m., emergency services received a call reporting that a man had been injured at an address on Mullen Road in Bicester. Upon arrival, officers discovered 45-year-old Dale Bond in his lounge with multiple stab wounds. The attending officers immediately provided emergency treatment, and paramedics from South Central Ambulance and the Air Ambulance provided specialist emergency medical treatment. Despite immediate medical intervention, Mr. Bond was pronounced dead at the scene. After his death, the police then got an address in Bicester to locate the possible suspect. They immediately drove to the location on the address, and they discovered 23-year-old Bailey Haywood with blood-stained clothing. She was arrested on suspicion of murder. The Thames Valley Police Major Crime Unit initiated an investigation. An autopsy confirmed that Mr. Bond's death was caused by a stab wound, leading to Bailey's conviction for murder. During her trial, her defense argued that she acted in self-defense, but the jury completely rejected arguments stating that there is no evidence to suggest that Mr. Bond attacked Haywood. The precise motives for the murder remain unclear to this day, as Bailey is the only person who could say why she carried out the act. But she has chosen not to speak about it, following her trial at Oxford Crown Court. The jury found her guilty, and she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 17 years and 181 days. As of April 2025, Bailey Haywood has served approximately 6 months and 18 days of her minimum term. She will be eligible for parole consideration in December 2041 when she reaches the age of 41. Number 5. Jemma Mitchell. 38-year-old Jemma Mitchell moved to the UK from Australia with her mother and sister after her parents' separation. She earned a first-class degree in human sciences from King's College London, where she excelled in anatomy. During her training, she learned how to dissect the human body. She was so good with the skill that she was awarded the Hamilton Prize for Anatomical Excellence. Despite her qualifications, Mitchell was not registered to practice osteopathy in the UK and remained unemployed after 2015. She lived with her mother and sister in a dilapidated £4 million family home in Willesden, northwest London. She also had a very strained relationship with her sister, and has been charged one time for an act against her. After a while, Mitchell and her mother then decided to renovate their home, but they found out that they had been defrauded of £230,000 by builders they hired for renovations. In August 2020, Mitchell met and befriended 67-year-old Mi Kuen Chong at their church. Chong, originally from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, had lived in London for 30 years and suffered from mental health issues. Some of the church members described her as an adult, having a sweet and childlike nature. Chong had agreed to give Mitchell £200,000 to assist with the home renovation, and they both exchanged numerous chat messages on the subject. But Chong later withdrew her offer and urged Mitchell to sell the house and enjoy the money instead. This withdrawal led to a fatal confrontation. On June 11, 2021, Mitchell visited Chong's residence in Wembley, carrying a large blue suitcase. It is believed that during this visit, Mitchell murdered Chong and placed her into the suitcase. Afterwards, she stole documents from Chong's house. She later tried to use the documents to forge a will, indicating that Chong left her $700,000 estate to her. She then transported the suitcase back to her home, storing it in her garden for 2 weeks. On June 26th, Mitchell hired a car and drove over 200 miles to Salcombe, Devon, where she disposed of Chong's body in a wooded area. Part of the body was discovered by holidaymakers the following day, and the other part was found nearby 4 days later. Before the body was found, Chong was reported missing by her lodger. Mitchell initially told the police that Chong had gone to visit her family friends by the sea. However, CCTV footage captured Mitchell entering Chong's home with the suitcase and leaving hours later with it appearing heavier. Further evidence, including the forged will, showing that Chong had left 95% of her estate in her care to use for the completion of her house project, and the remaining 5% willed to her mother, implicated Mitchell. She was arrested and charged with murder. Mitchell's trial began on October 11, 2022, at the Old Bailey. She pleaded not guilty, but the jury found her guilty after deliberating for 7 hours on October 28, 2022. Judge Richard Marks KC sentenced her to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 34 years, describing her actions as extremely devious and highlighting her lack of remorse. As of April 2025, Jemma Mitchell has served approximately 2 years and 6 months of her 34-year minimum sentence. She remains incarcerated in a UK prison and will be eligible for parole in October 2056, when she is 72 years old. Number 6. Virginia McCullough, 31-year-old. Virginia McCullough was living with her parents in their family home in Chelmsford, Essex, when she carried out the brutal act on them. Her parents were getting old and were in a poor condition, making her their primary caregiver. In June 2019, Virginia, who had squandered her parents' money and was in a huge debt, prepared a cocktail of prescription substances and added it to the drinks she gave to her 70-year-old father, John, and her 71-year-old mother, Lois. Her father took the drink and passed away while sleeping, while her mother did not take the drink. The following day, she found out that her mother, who didn't take the drink, was still alive, sleeping in her bed without noticing what had happened to her husband. Fearing that her mother would find out what she had done, she attacked her using a hammer and subsequently used a knife on her multiple times, resulting in her death. After the incident, she went to a local hospital to receive treatment for the wounds she suffered while carrying out the act. Then she proceeded to buy items that she used to conceal her crimes. She meticulously concealed their bodies within the residence. John's remains were placed in a makeshift tomb constructed from masonry blocks and wooden panels, while Lois's body was hidden in an upstairs wardrobe. Prior to the murders, McCullough had accumulated significant debts, over $60,000, and was engaged in fraudulent activities involving her parents' finances. She had been misappropriating funds from their accounts, and, following their deaths, she continued to collect their pensions and use their credit cards. She even disguised as her mother and demanded for a new credit card and PIN from her bank. She also impersonated her father in communications to maintain the facade that they were still alive. Her gambling addiction heightened her financial situation, leading her to spend substantial sums on online betting platforms. In total, she squandered over £150,000. The deception came to an end in September 2023, when concerns from family members and medical professionals about the prolonged absence of John and Lois prompted a welfare check by Essex police. Virginia lived with the dead bodies of her parents for over 4.5 years without her siblings noticing. Upon entering the residence, officers discovered the concealed bodies. Virginia was arrested at the scene, and during her apprehension, she said to the officers, "I did know that this day would come eventually. Cheer up, at least you've caught the bad guy." She was charged with 2 counts of murder, and she pleaded guilty in July 2024. The presiding judge highlighted the premeditated nature of the crimes and the gross violation of parental trust. Few months later, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 36 years before being eligible for parole. As of April 2025, Virginia McCullough has served approximately 6 months of her life sentence. She remains incarcerated with a minimum of 35 years and 6 months remaining before parole consideration. Number 7. Lucy Letby. Between June 2015 and June 2016, the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital in Cheshire, England, experienced an unusual spike in infant deaths and sudden collapses. Medical staff became concerned about the unexpected nature of these incidents. An internal review identified 33-year-old Lucy Letby as the only nurse present during all the events in question. Consultant pediatricians raised their suspicions to hospital management, but initial actions were not carried out. It wasn't until May 2017 that the hospital reported the concerns to the Cheshire Constabulary, prompting a formal police investigation. The investigation, known as Operation Hummingbird, was launched. It involved a detailed review of infant medical records and autopsy reports. Investigators discovered patterns suggesting harm, including injections of air and insulin, overfeeding, and physical assaults. Lucy, the primary suspect, was then arrested, but she was released on bail and subsequently rearrested in June 2019 and November 2020 as more evidence emerged. Lucy's trial began in October 2022 at Manchester Crown Court. The prosecution presented evidence of her involvement in the deaths of 7 children and the attempted murders of 6 others. In August 2023, the jury found her guilty on all counts. She was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, making her one of the few women in UK history to receive such a sentence. Recently, a new development has emerged suggesting that Lucy may have harmed more children than those for which she was convicted. As of April 2025, Lucy Letby has served approximately 1 year and 8 months of her life sentence. Given her whole life order, she will remain incarcerated for the rest of her life. Number 8. Karen Vamplew. In the early hours of December 15, 2021, a tragic event unfolded in Newark, Nottinghamshire, resulting in the death of 77-year-old Elizabeth Ann Vamplew. Elizabeth Vamplew was a vulnerable elderly woman with limited mobility and hearing impairments. She required daily visits from caregivers and was known for taking cigarettes inside her bungalow at Eaton Court. Her daughter-in-law, 44-year-old Karen Vamplew, who was her primary caregiver, had accumulated significant debts and had been illicitly accessing funds from her bank account. She drained her account from £27,000 to £105 in months. When the bank restricted transactions to £5 due to suspicious activities, Karen's access to these funds was effectively cut off. On December 14, 2021, Karen accompanied Elizabeth to the bank in an attempt to remove the transaction restrictions. Later that night, Karen visited Elizabeth's home twice. During her first visit, CCTV showed that she had parked outside, not near her mother-in-law's house, wearing a black hoodie. She went in and deliberately set fire to Elizabeth's bed while she was asleep, using a naked flame. She then left the premises, only to return later to feign discovery of the fire and contact emergency services. Despite rescue efforts, Elizabeth succumbed to severe burns and smoke inhalation injuries. Initial suspicions arose due to the nature of the fire and Karen's financial motives. Investigators determined that the fire was intentionally started, ruling out accidental causes such as a dropped cigarette. CCTV footage captured Karen's movements to and from the crime scene, though she claimed that she forgot her keys and went back to her car to retrieve it. She also said she tried to save Elizabeth's life when she got to her house, but was pushed back by the heavy smoke. Karen was first arrested on December 17, 2021, but was released due to insufficient evidence. However, after further investigation and gathering of substantial evidence, she was rearrested years later. The trial commenced at Leicester Crown Court, where the prosecution presented compelling evidence of Karen's premeditated actions driven by financial gain. The jury found her guilty of murder, and on May 20, 2024, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 32 years before eligibility for parole. As of April 2025, Karen Vamplew has served approximately 11 months of her life sentence. Number 9. Mahek Bukhari and Ansrain Bukhar. 46-year-old Ansrain Bukhari, the mother of the 24-year-old popular social media influencer Mahek Bukhari, had been having an extramarital affair with 21-year-old Saqib Hussain. She decided to end the affair. Unwilling to accept the termination of their relationship, Saqib allegedly threatened to expose her explicit material and videotapes to her husband, aiming to coerce her into continuing the affair. In response to these threats, Mahek and her mother, Ansrain, devised a plan to confront Saqib and retrieve any compromising material. In one of their messages, Mahek told her mother, "I'll get him jumped by guys and he won't know what day it is." She also boldly told the victim, "I am sorry that this year you'll be gone, Saqib." They lured Saqib to a meeting under the pretense of handing over £3,000, an amount he claimed to have spent during the relationship. Unknowing to Saqib, Mahek and Ansrain had recruited the help of 5 associates: 27-year-old Raykan Karwan, 23-year-old Rais Jamal, 23-year-old Natasha Akhtar, 28-year-old Amir Jamal, and 23-year-old Sanaf Gula Mustafa to assist in their plan. On the night of the meeting, Saqib, accompanied by his friend, 21-year-old Mohammed Hashim, arrived at the designated meeting point in a Tesco car park in Leicester. Upon realizing that they had been set up and there was potential danger, the 2 men attempted to flee in their Skoda Fabian vehicle. A high-speed chase ensued, with the pursuing vehicles reaching speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. During the chase, Saqib made a desperate 999 call, reporting that they were being followed by individuals in balaclavas who were attempting to ram them off the road. Tragically, while still on the call, their vehicle was forced off the road, collided with a tree, and burst into flames, resulting in the immediate deaths of both men. After the crash, Mahek and her mother refused to call the police and sped off. A driver passing by came across the 2 friends and decided to call emergency services. Following the fatal crash, an extensive investigation was launched by Leicestershire Police. Evidence, including CCTV footage and mobile phone data, implicated Mahek, Ansrain, and their accomplices in orchestrating the deadly pursuit. During the investigation, Mahek was seen lying to the police about their whereabouts the previous day. The group was subsequently arrested and charged with murder. After a 3-month trial at Leicester Crown Court, Mahek Bukhari was found guilty of 2 counts of murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 31 years and 8 months. Her mother, Ansrain Bukhari, was also sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 26 years and 9 months. Their accomplices each got different sentences. As of April 2025, Mahek Bukhari has served approximately 1 year and 7 months of her life sentence. Number 10. Veronica John. On June 10, 2023, in Stoke-on-Trent, England, the emergency operator received a call from 50-year-old Veronica John saying that she had just murdered her children. A day before she made the call, Veronique had assaulted her husband, Nathan John, with a piece of wood after suspecting that he was having an affair. She was arrested but released the following day with a community resolution notice. Hours after her release, she attacked her children, 11-year-old Ethan and 7-year-old Elizabeth, at their home on Flack Street. Ethan sustained over 20 stab wounds, while Elizabeth suffered severe injuries. Both children were pronounced dead at the scene. After the attack on her children, Veronique proceeded to a car wash on Campbell Road, where Nathan, her husband, was employed, and also used the knife on him. Despite his injuries, Nathan survived. After returning home, Veronique contacted emergency services. When the police arrived, she told them, "If you have a gun, shoot me. I am not a monster. He was going to take them from me. Veronica was arrested at the scene. Investigations revealed that her marriage with her husband had been a toxic one, as they usually had arguments now and then. Veronica confessed that she carried out the act on her children because her husband wanted to take them from her. Police also revealed that she made the decision after making a chilling internet search, asking, "Can a foreigner be charged with murder in the UK?" She also confessed to the crime, saying, "I did it because I love my children, to protect the children. If there's any possible way I could be put to death, I would like that. I mean it 100%. Due to diagnoses of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, she was deemed unfit to plead or participate in a standard trial. Consequently, a trial of facts was conducted at Nottingham Crown Court. In July 2024, the jury concluded that Veronica had committed the acts as charged. She was given an indefinite hospital order under the Mental Health Act and is currently held at Rampton High Security Hospital in Nottinghamshire. As of April 2025, she has served approximately 9 months of this order. The duration of her confinement depends on assessments of her mental health and the risk she may pose. Number 11. Ashana Studholme. 35-year-old mother of 2, Shakira Spencer was a woman who lived in Ealing, West London. She was described as a beautiful, happy, healthy woman before her life took a devastating turn upon befriending her neighbor, Ashana Studholme. Her neighbors recounted that Shakira was a lovable person, but socially awkward, who presented as someone with learning difficulties. After she became friends with a supposed friend, Studholme introduced her to her partner Sean Pendlebury and her friend Lisa Richardson. Over time, the 3 friends introduced Shakira to the use of hard substances and started exerting control over her. They isolated her from her family and friends and subjected her to severe abuse. Between early 2021 and September 2022, Shakira endured relentless physical and psychological torment. The trio treated her as a servant, forcing her to perform menial tasks at all hours. They controlled her finances, depriving her of basic necessities and feeding her only ketchup sachets, leading to significant weight loss from a size 16 to a size 6. The abuse escalated to physical torture, including scalding her feet and other inhumane treatments. On September 12, 2022, after a particularly brutal assault at Studholme's residence, Shakira was transported in the trunk of a car to her own flat, where she was confined to a cupboard and left to die. Approximately 2 weeks later, on September 25, 2022, neighbors noticed maggots emerging from under her front door and alerted authorities. Upon entry, police discovered her body, necessitating identification through dental records. The extent of decomposition made it impossible to determine the exact date of death. After the discovery, Studholme, Pendlebury, and Richardson were arrested after the police were contacted by a relative of Pendlebury's to whom he had confessed his role in the killing. They were charged with murder and preventing a lawful burial. During the trial at the Old Bailey, evidence presented included messages and videos showing the abuse, highlighting the trio's sadistic pleasure in inflicting pain. In December 2023, all 3 were found guilty on both charges. In February 2024, Studholme, Pendlebury, and Richardson were each sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 34 years. As of April 2025, they have served approximately 1 year and 2 months of their sentences, with eligibility for parole in 2058. Number 12. Christina Robinson. 30-year-old Christina Robinson, a mother from Ushaw Moor near Durham, was convicted of the murder of her 3-year-old son, Dwellania Robinson, after a harrowing series of abusive incidents that culminated in his death. In the weeks leading up to her son's death, Christiana subjected him to severe physical abuse under the guise of religious discipline adhering to teachings from the Black Hebrew Israelites that advocated corporal punishment. This included striking him with a cane for minor misbehaviors. Around 18 days before his death, Christina forced him into using very hot water to bathe as punishment for soiling himself, resulting in extensive body injuries covering over 20% of his body, particularly on his lower part. Despite the severity of these injuries, she did not seek medical attention. Instead, she resolved to treating him with ointments and bandages purchased online. Her failure to obtain proper medical care left Dwellania in significant pain and vulnerable. Few days later, she carried out another attack on him, which left him in a very critical condition. Emergency services were called to their residence on Bracken Court, but despite their efforts, her son was pronounced dead. After Dwellania's death, an investigation revealed that he had over 60 wounds, and there was a pattern of ongoing abuse. Christina admitted to using a cane to discipline her son, claiming she believed it was a form of correction endorsed by her religious beliefs, which preached using a rod to correct a child. She expressed regret, stating she now realized she had been misguided. She also said that she couldn't seek medical attention for her son because she was ashamed. She was charged with murder and 4 counts of child cruelty, including the hot bath incident, failure to seek medical help, physical punishment with a cane, and leaving her son home alone for extended periods. During her trial at Newcastle Crown Court, she dismissed her legal team and represented herself in the final stages. The jury found her guilty on all charges. In May 2024, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 25 years. As of April 2025, Christina Robinson has served approximately 11 months of her life sentence. Number 13, Stephenie Langley. On the evening of September 11, 2023, in Maidstone, Kent, a tragic event unfolded outside the Hare and Hounds public house. Matthew Bryant, the pub's landlord, was inside his pub attending to his customers when he was fatally attacked by his former sister-in-law, 55-year-old Stephenie Langley. Stephenie and Bryant had been related through marriage, but had minimal contact for over 2 decades. Their paths crossed again in March 2023 when Langley visited the Hare and Hounds pub. On the day of the incident, Stephenie returned to the pub. Witnesses reported that she boldly told a customer, "Get a drink while he is still alive," referring to Bryant. She also directly threatened Bryant, stating, "You're dead tonight." These statements prompted Bryant to step aside and started contacting the police. After leaving the pub briefly, Stephenie retrieved a kitchen knife from her car and returned to confront Bryant, who was still on the phone with emergency services. She knocked the phone from his hand and proceeded to use the knife on him 3 times. Bryant was able to tell the 999 operator that he had been stabbed and severely injured. Despite immediate efforts by passers-by and paramedics, Bryant died to his injuries at the scene. Stephenie was arrested shortly after the incident. During police interviews, she expressed no remorse, reportedly stating, "I'm glad he's dead." She claimed that Bryant had assaulted a woman she knew, but Bryant and his family denied such accusations. She was charged with murder and possession of a bladed article. During the trial at Maidstone Crown Court, the prosecution described the attack as impulsive, irrational, but deliberate and intentional. Stephenie attempted to justify her actions by bringing up past grievances against Bryant, but these claims were contested and unproven. During her trial, Bryant's widow and his mother read their victim impact statement with tears in their eyes, expressing how they have lost their loved one. In May 2024, Stephenie was convicted of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 24 years before being eligible for parole. As of April 2025, she has served approximately 11 months of her sentence. Number 14, Iltiona Skana. On March 22, 2020, which was a Mother's Day celebration in the UK, 7-year-old Emily Jones was in Queen's Park, Bolton, Greater Manchester with her father, Mark Jones, and her mother, Sarah Barnes. She noticed her mother jogging nearby and decided to move to where she was. Emily mounted her scooter trying to move as she scooted past a wooden bench where 30-year-old Eltiona Skana, an Albanian woman who was granted asylum in the UK, was seated. Calling out to her mother, Skana suddenly attacked her and brutally used a craft knife she had purchased earlier that day on her multiple times. Emily was rushed to Salford Royal Hospital, but tragically she passed away. After the attack, Skana tried to run, but was detained by the people around until the police arrived and arrested her. During police interviews, it was revealed that she had a documented history of mental illness and had not been adhering to her prescribed medications. It was also revealed that she came to the UK from Albania in the back of a lorry and had lied in her asylum application documents. Initially charged with murder, Skana later pleaded guilty to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. In December 2020, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 8 years to be served in a high-security hospital. However, in January 2021, this minimum term was revised to 10 years and 8 months due to a sentencing miscalculation. Skana sought to appeal both her sentence and the minimum term, arguing for a hospital order with restrictions instead. The court dismissed her appeal, upholding the original sentencing decisions. Following her sentencing, Mark Jones, the father of the victim, stated through his lawyer that Skana had been given asylum in the UK, despite the Home Office being told she admitted lying in her application and she wouldn't have been in the UK if they had done their jobs. As of April 2025, Skana has served approximately 4 years and 4 months of her sentence, with a minimum of 6 years and 4 months remaining. Alice Wood. In the evening of May 6, 2022, Alice Wood, a 24-year-old philosophy student from Cheadle, Staffordshire, and her fiancé, 24-year-old Ryan Watson, attended a birthday party in Hanley, Stoke-on-Trent, for a service user of the brain injury charity Headway, where Ryan worked as a support worker. During the event, witnesses observed tension between the couple when Mr. Watson engaged in a conversation with another woman, leading to accusations of flirting from Alice. During the party, both had consumed high levels of alcohol, and when they prepared to go home, Alice decided to drive them home, despite being over the legal limit. Upon arriving at their residence in Road Heath, Cheshire, around 11:20 p.m., the situation escalated. They started having an argument. CCTV footage revealed that after the argument, Alice used her Ford Fiesta vehicle to deliberately drive at Ryan multiple times. Initially, she reversed towards him, narrowly missing. She then drove at him again, causing him to be thrown onto the bonnet and strike his head on the windscreen. Despite this, she proceeded to drive at him a third time, dragging him approximately 158 meters under the vehicle. Upon stopping, she then sought help from a nearby resident, stating, "Please phone an ambulance, I think I've run over my boyfriend." Emergency services arrived promptly, but Mr. Watson was pronounced dead at the scene, with the cause of death determined as crush asphyxiation. Alice was found to have over 61 micrograms of alcohol per 100 milliliters of breath, exceeding the legal limit of 35. She was arrested on suspicion of murder, and during her transportation to the police station, she remarked, "It's fine, I deserve it." She was subsequently charged with murder. During her trial at Chester Crown Court, she maintained that the incident was a tragic accident and expressed remorse. However, the court found her guilty, concluding that her actions were intentional. On February 2, 2024, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 18 years before being eligible for parole. During her sentencing, the presiding judge told her, "Prison may be hard for you, Alice Wood, but you only have yourself to blame for the situation you now find yourself in. At the time of the incident, Wood was preparing for her final exams at Manchester University and had been awarded a scholarship for a part-time research master's at Cambridge. As of April 2025, Alice Wood has served approximately 1 year and 2 months of her life sentence. Lauren Harris. In the early hours of November 20th, 2023, in Colwyn Bay, Conwy County, North Wales, a tragic and brutal crime unfolded, leading to the death of 65-year-old David Mark Wilcox. Lauren Harris, then 29 years old, who had no fixed home address, but originally from Colwyn Bay, along with her accomplice, 43-year-old David Webster from Lacey Street, were central figures in this harrowing event. Lauren Harris had moved in with Mr. Wilcox at his residence on Bayview Road earlier in 2023. Their friendly relationship, which began around mid-2023, was marked by Mr. Wilcox's generosity and desire to support Harris in turning her life around. However, this relationship took a dark turn as Harris drained Mr. Wilcox's bank account over the months they lived together. In the days leading up to the incident, Harris met and started a relationship with David Webster and befriended Thomas Whiteley. On the evening of November 19th, 2023, Harris invited Webster and Whiteley to Mr. Wilcox's home for drinks and to smoke. An argument started during the gathering, escalating into a violent assault against Mr. Wilcox. Before the situation could be resolved, Lauren Harris used a knife on Mr. Wilcox twice, while David Webster inflicted additional violence, including hitting Mr. Wilcox with a vodka bottle. The attack was so brutal and vicious, leaving Mr. Wilcox with severe injuries, including multiple stab wounds. After the assault, Webster forcefully took off Mr. Wilcox's watch from his wrist, and the trio then fled the scene in the victim's Volvo vehicle, leaving him unconscious in his living room, where police discovered him shortly after. Harris then attempted to use Mr. Wilcox's bank cards at 2 ATMs to withdraw cash to pay for hard substance. After withdrawing the money, they then drove away and subsequently crashed the car moments later. They abandoned the vehicle. Despite immediate medical attention, Mr. Wilcox died of his injuries later that day. Following the discovery of Mr. Wilcox's body, North Wales police launched an investigation that quickly led to the arrest of Harris, Webster, and Whiteley later. During the investigation, it was revealed that Harris decided to murder the victim because his money, which she was spending, was now drained. She was charged with murder alongside her accomplices. During the trial, Harris denied involvement, but evidence presented, including DNA tests linking Webster to the weapons and CCTV footage of Harris's attempts to withdraw money, painted a damning picture. The trial took place at Mould Crown Court and concluded on August 8, 2024, with Harris and Webster being found guilty of murder. At one point during her trial, as she was led into the dock, Harris started singing Shania Twain's song, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman." She showed no remorse for the crimes she committed. Various evidence also revealed that she had a history of violence against men. On August 12, 2024, Mr. Justice Edward Pepperell sentenced Lauren Harris to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 25 years before eligibility for parole. David Webster received a life sentence with a minimum term of 23 years. The judge highlighted the brutality and senselessness of the murder, noting the abuse of Mr. Wilcox's trust and the lack of remorse from both defendants. As of April 2025, Lauren Harris has served approximately 8 months of her life sentence. She will be 54 years old before she will be eligible for parole. Rebecca Moore. In the early hours of March 9, 2024, at approximately 4 a.m., 24-year-old Saakad Ali was relaxing at a friend's flat in the Netherthorpe area playing video games when he received a call from an unknown number. The caller was 25-year-old Rebecca Moore. She persuaded him to meet her at Ponderosa Park under the pretense of purchasing some hard substance and offering her services. Unknowingly to Mr. Alley, this was a setup. Upon his arrival, he was ambushed by two teenagers, 17-year-old Barney Griffin and 16-year-old Jack Douglas. Armed with machetes, they launched a brutal and relentless attack on Mr. Alley, who pleaded for them to stop. Despite his cries, the assault continued, leading to his death shortly after 5 a.m. Following the discovery of Mr. Alley's body, South Yorkshire Police initiated an intensive investigation. Witnesses provided descriptions of the attackers, which matched clothing found at Griffin's residence. Forensic evidence, including blood near Oxford Street linked to Griffin, and CCTV footage tracking the movements of the perpetrators, further implicated the trio. Moore was apprehended shortly after the incident. In an attempt to evade arrest, she provided officers with a false name and date of birth. However, her deception was short-lived, as officers quickly confirmed her identity and arrested her on suspicion of murder. Griffin and Douglas surrendered to the authorities on March 12, 2024. They both pleaded guilty to murder and possession of a bladed article in May 2024. Moore, however, denied the charges, leading to a 16-day trial at Sheffield Crown Court. She subjected the family of the victim in pain of appearing in the court severally instead of admitting her guilt. On November 11, 2024, the jury found her guilty of murder. Subsequently, on November 28, 2024, the court sentenced Moore to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 15 years before eligibility for parole. Griffin received a 16-year sentence, while Douglas was sentenced to 15 years. As of April 2025, Rebecca Moore has served approximately 5 months of her 15-year minimum term. She will be 40 years before being considered for parole. Lisa Elwood. In the late evening of August 29, 2023, a tragic incident unfolded in the Agbrigg area of Wakefield, West Yorkshire, leading to the untimely death of 42-year-old Ryan Elwood. On the night in question, 40-years-old Lisa and Ryan, her husband, had been out celebrating her 40th birthday. They began their evening at the Loopset Hotel before proceeding to Wakefield City Centre, where they continued drinking at the Blind Pig pub. Lisa consumed multiple high-alcohol cocktails during the night. CCTV obtained from the pub showed both of them appearing to be happy and in high spirits when they arrived. But at some point during the evening, they had a falling out, as an argument erupted between the couple, leading them to return home separately. Lisa arrived at their residence on Greenwood Court approximately 10 minutes after Ryan. She was so intoxicated and even seen falling down on the road before she got to their home. An argument started again in the kitchen, during which Lisa retrieved a kitchen knife and inflicted a fatal stab wound to Ryan. After the attack, Lisa called the emergency services, but while speaking on the phone, she appeared rude and was angry with the operator telling her what to do. She even used some swear words on the operator. After everything, Ryan was pronounced dead at 11:45 p.m. Upon arrival, paramedics and police officers found Ryan unresponsive on the kitchen floor. Lisa, exhibiting signs of heavy intoxication, initially claimed to have discovered her husband in that state and suggested that their 16-year-old daughter might have been involved. However, inconsistencies in her account, combined with evidence from the scene, led authorities to arrest Lisa on suspicion of murder. Lisa Elwood was charged with the murder of her husband and stood trial at Leeds Crown Court. Throughout the proceedings, the court heard testimonies about the couple's tumultuous relationship, marked by mutual accusations of infidelity and instances of domestic violence. Lisa's defense highlighted her struggles with alcohol dependency and mental health issues, asserting that she had no recollection of the events leading to Ryan's death. Lisa also stated during the trial that she was beaten frequently by Ryan whenever he was drunk, and he would also cheat on her. Despite this, the jury found her guilty of murder. On March 13, 2024, Lisa was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 16 years before being eligible for parole. As of April 2025, Lisa Elwood has served approximately 1 year and 1 month of her 16-year minimum sentence. Christine Rawl. On August 21, 2022, in Braunton, Devon, England, a fatal domestic incident resulted in the death of 72-year-old Ian Rawl. On that day, an intense argument erupted between the wife, 70-year-old Christine Rawl, and Ian concerning the sale of a piece of land on their £800,000 smallholding. Christine wished to sell the land to finance a private eye operation, a decision Ian opposed. During the dispute, Christine retrieved a 12.5-inch knife and used it on Ian in the back with such force that the blade cut eventually caused severe damage to his body. Despite his injuries, Ian, who was attending to their horse at the time, managed to walk approximately 100 yards, pleading with Christine to remove the knife before collapsing and succumbing to the wound. Following the incident, emergency services were summoned to the scene, where Ian was pronounced dead. Christine was arrested at their property without resistance and charged with his murder. During police interviews, she claimed self-defense, alleging years of physical, psychological, and body abuse by Ian. Christine's trial commenced at Exeter Crown Court, where she pleaded not guilty to murder, asserting that she acted in self-defense after enduring prolonged abuse. The prosecution, however, portrayed her as the aggressor, highlighting previous incidents where she had allegedly stabbed Ian and played cruel pranks on him, such as adding a substance to his tea and chili powder to his undergarments. After deliberating for just over 3 hours, the jury found Christine guilty of murder. On March 22, 2024, she was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 17 years before being eligible for parole. As of April 2025, Christine Rawl has served approximately 1 year and 1 month of her 17-year minimum sentence. Anne Marie Burrows. On October 26, 2023, in Peterborough, England, 52-year-old Anne Marie Burrows murdered her friend, 56-year-old Paul Knowles, a Royal Navy veteran. The two regularly met at Mr. Knowles' flat on Farrier's Court in Woodston to drink and chat. During this particular meeting, Burrows assaulted Mr. Knowles, inflicting significant injuries to his face, eyes, and neck, and allegedly forced a sock down his throat, which obstructed his airway and led to his death. After the murder, Burrows left the scene, taking Mr. Knowles's bank card, which she later used at a shop. She first contacted the police on October 30th, stating she had killed a man but refused to provide further details, also stating that she was just having a nightmare. After many days later, she called the police again, confessing to the murder and revealing Mr. Knowles' identity and location. The police visited the location and discovered Mr. Knowles' body. Burrows was tracked down to her location and subsequently arrested at a property on Mountbatten Way in Ravensthorpe. The attending police officer indicated that the murder was an intentional one, as Burrows had no other intention than to kill the victim. Burrows claimed self-defense, alleging that Mr. Knowles had become abusive and threatened her with a bottle. However, the prosecution presented evidence of the violent nature of the assault, including the sock forced into Mr. Knowles's throat. On July 19, 2024, a jury at Cambridge Crown Court found Burrows guilty of murder. She was sentenced on July 23, 2024, to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 17 years before being eligible for parole. Thank you guys for watching till the end.